Recomp is the new trend online. Everybody's talking about it, and that's probably the reason why you're watching this video today. Being able to lose fat and gain muscle at the same time sounds amazing, right? But here's the problem. Most people who say they want to recomp don't actually know what recomp truly means and what it actually looks like. And it's the reason why they look the exact same today as they did 6 months ago. So in this video, I'm breaking down what body recomp really is, who's it for, and why more than likely you need a fat loss phase. Let's get into it. So let's talk about what recomp actually means. Recomp is when your body weight, the number you see when you step on the scale, stays the same, but your body composition changes. So how much muscle mass you have compared to body fat. So let's say you weigh 100 pounds, and this is just literally for the purpose of an example. If you weigh 100 pounds, you likely need to put on some more weight. So you probably shouldn't be recomping and more so bulking. But for the sake of simplicity, let's say you weigh 100 pounds. Right? 70 pounds are from fat, 30 pounds are from muscle. After recomp, you now have 60 pounds of fat and 40 pounds of muscle, but the scale is still 100 pounds. You still weigh 100 pounds, you're the same weight, just the ratios of muscle mass compared to body fat are different. That's what a recomp really is. So if your goal is to lose 20 or more pounds and see the number on the scale drop, a recomp is not going to get you there. And the way I like to tell my clients to think of it is think of it like money, right? Recomp is when you have the same amount of income, but you're shifting where you're allocating that money. You're shifting where the money goes. So more money into investments, so think of muscle, and less money into waste, fat. Then fat loss is when you are literally taking a pay cut. Your total income, your total body weight goes down. Both are going to require different strategies, right? So knowing this distinction is really important, and thinking of it like money is a really good way to simplify it and get your head wrapped around it. So who can actually recomp? A true recomp can work under very specific conditions. So some people can actually keep their body weight the same as they lose fat and gain muscle at the same time. And it works under these conditions. You're a complete beginner, so you've never strength trained a day in your life. You are coming back after a long break. Say you were training before and you had a hiatus for whatever reason. Life happens because life be lifing, and you weren't able to train consistently, so you took like a year or so off. You can recomp. You can also recomp if you've been training, but you have not been training properly at all. So there's people who have been going to the gym consistently, just working out, going into the gym blindly, just picking machines and getting a random workout in, basically doing any mini miny mo and picking some stuff to do, right? But they've never actually followed a progressive strength training program. You can recomp at that point. But in most cases, even then, the scale weight is usually dropping. Essentially, people are actually in a fat loss phase because they aren't holding their weight that shows up on the scale steady and shifting the ratios of body fat compared to muscle mass. So for the average lifter who's already been training, or someone who wants to lose 20 or more pounds, recomp is not the move. People are saying they are doing recomp, but they're really doing fat loss. So it only sounds like it's a good thing to do, or that you should take this approach, because online so many people are using this as a buzzword, and it's being used in ways that are misleading and aren't accurate at all. And people that are doing that know exactly what they're doing. It's a marketing tactic. It's a way to get your coins, literally. Because we all know recomp, losing body fat and building muscle at the same time, sounds very appealing. Like, when I hear that, I'm like, oh shit, I could lose fat and build muscle at the same time. I'm doing it. I don't even want to do a fat loss phase. I don't even need to do a bulk, right? So if you open your social media account right now, whatever, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you are, YouTube, you'll see posts of someone saying they're recomped with the before and after transformation, right? But in reality, they just lost fat and revealed the muscle they already had. That does not mean you put on new muscle tissue. It just means that you stripped away the fat that was covering the muscle you already had. That's why most of these I recomp claims only come with before and after photos to support it. Not DEXA scans, not any other accurate or valid way of measuring body composition. They just have pictures that show fat loss. It does not show fat loss with simultaneous muscle growth while your body weight stays the same. So, because these people are actually in a fat loss phase, let's actually break this down and compare what a recomp is in a fat loss phase so that you're not fooled by the stuff that's going around online. You can actually know what approach you need to take. So, what does a fat loss phase look like compared to a recomp phase? And this may sound like I'm nitpicking, but the reality is knowing these nuances changes your entire approach. And this is why so many people get stuck trying to do a recomp when they really need a fat loss phase, because they're being sold on recomp, they're taking that approach, but then they truly want to lose fat and they're not getting that result. So they end up not being the weight that they want. They end up not having the physique they want and spending so much time trying to recomp because people say, oh, it takes so long. It doesn't have to take that long if you do the right approach. Getting to your goal does not have to take long if you take the right approach in alignment with what you say you want, instead of being fooled by these buzzwords and short posts on social media that doesn't give you the entire context like I'm going to give you now. So a fat loss phase is required when you want to lose a substantial amount of weight. So what I mean by that is, let's say for example, if you weigh 200 pounds and you want to weigh 150 pounds, a recomp is not going to get you there, because like we talked about earlier, recomp is when the body weight stays the same. So the number you see on the scale stays the same, but then you're changing your body composition. But if you want to go from 200 pounds to 150 pounds, by default, you can't recomp. If you want the scale to go down, you need a fat loss phase. If you're at your ideal body weight already, or really, really close to it, let's say 5 to 10 pounds within that range, you can do a recomp. All right? So what does that actually look like? A fat loss phase requires you to be in a calorie deficit, continue to lift heavy. You can add more cardio in depending on what your deficit is already via nutrition, because you can create a deficit by eating less, but you can also create more of a deficit by working out more. So depending on what your deficit is via your nutrition, then you can determine what type of cardio you need to add in or how much cardio you need to add in. And the outcome of fat loss phase is the scale goes down, as well as you looking leaner because you have less body fat, and your muscles seem more defined because you have less body fat covering it. You are not putting on new muscle tissue in a fat loss phase. If anything, you are maintaining muscle. Now, when it comes to recomp, the goal of a recomp is to lose fat while you're gaining muscle at the same body fat, right? And in order to do that, if you want to stay the same body weight, then you have to be at maintenance. You have to eat at maintenance calories. And you have to lift heavy. By the end of that, you should look leaner. You should look more muscular. You should be stronger. But the scale should not change. And the thing with fat loss phase and recomp, and the reason why people are so inclined or so willing to do recomp over fat loss, is because people get really scared when they hear fat loss, because they automatically think that it's so different. Like, you need to do tons of cardio. You need to stop lifting until you lose weight, until you lose fat. But the reality is your training is going to look nearly identical. The only difference is your nutrition, whether you're at maintenance or whether you're in a calorie deficit. And if you don't believe me, just think about the people who take this the most seriously. Bodybuilders. All right? If recomp worked long term for everybody, do you honestly think bodybuilders, the people who know this muscle building game better than anyone, would bother with separate bulking and cutting phases? No. These are literally athletes who dedicate their entire lives to building muscle and creating elite physiques. If there was a shortcut to doing that, to losing fat, cutting fat, and putting on muscle at the same time, they would be the first to do it. But they don't. Why is that? Because it does not work that way. If building a lot of muscle, putting on a lot of muscle, while dropping fat was truly possible for everybody, no one would separate the two. It just wouldn't make sense to. So the fact that even the professionals don't skip these phases, that should tell you everything you need to know. And I know there's a lot of bodybuilders that are on social media saying recomp, but it's not really accurate, because they are starting from a point where They already have developed a ton of muscle already from years of going through cutting and bulking phases. They've already done that. So like their starting point is different from the average person. So for them to promote body recomp for everybody is really misleading and is disingenuous. So let's wrap this up with a quick recap. If you want the number on the scale to go down and have a leaner physique and weigh significantly less, you need a fat loss phase. If you're okay with staying the same weight you are, if you're okay with your body weight, you're at your goal body weight, and you just want more muscle and to be leaner, a recomp would be best. So I say all that to say don't chase buzzwords on social media without knowing exactly what they mean in deep detail. Don't fall for shortcuts because building your ideal physique is likely not going to happen in just one phase. Not one recomp phase, not one bulking phase, not one fat loss phase. It's going to take multiple phases, and that is totally fine. When you take the right time to do it, you'll see results faster than chasing recomp. And if you're not sure how to get started with all of this, I break it all down for you inside the Lifter's Blueprint. It covers fat loss, muscle building, and recomp, and literally everything from effective training to the exact nutrition strategies you would need to use for each of these goals. So click the link in the description. It's $27. Go grab it, and it'll get you moving in the right direction. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.